So what if I told you that what happened with the abandoned app was all part of the plan? Now, you could say that's a stupid theory. You could say that's a crazy theory. I would say both of those are probably right. But, throughout the day today, with all of the stuff that's happened, I live streamed kind of my initial thoughts once all of this stuff was happening with Blue Box. And there were some people that made some very good points, okay? And one of the points that I noticed was one that stood out, and I literally can't get it out of my head, okay? It was a point that, again, to kind of break down the theory, right, or to introduce it, what if the idea was to make us, the viewer, feel abandoned? And again, stupid? Yeah. I mean, why would you do something this idiotic? I mean, yet again, let's understand who we're dealing with here, okay? And it's not a direct like an assault against Hassan or Blue Box Game Studios or anything like that. As I've always said, I think they're going to feel the wrath of people, and I think they kind of deserve it. At the same time, no threats, no, taking that extra step, stepping over the line. I don't condone that. I would never do that. I would never tell anybody to do that, right? I'm very much against that, and I really do mean that. But they are going to get a lot of hate. So you could say, well, why would they do this to kind of just, it would be an avalanche of hate, right, added on to them. But, well, look, this real-time, so what is this? It's a real-time experience, okay? And that, I think, is really what clicks in your head. A real-time experience with the game Abandoned. Okay, so real-time, all right? It's not like a playable teaser. It's not PT. Now, sure, were there people that were hoping for that, including even myself, right? Yeah, but in reality, they had told us multiple times this was not going to be something that you were going to be able to play. This teaser that we were going to get at noon, I was 1 o'clock my time, noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. This was supposed to be a teaser experience for the real-time experience app that is Abandoned. At 1 o'clock, my time, whatever time for you, did you feel abandoned? I certainly did. Now, I wasn't sitting on the couch just like in a turtle position or fetal position, just like crying to myself that they've like abandoned me or anything. But, I mean, you sit there and they come up with excuse after excuse. And now, look, at the time I'm recording this, nothing's happened. It's still delayed. They still say they're working on it. They'll get it back up. I've personally had enough of waiting, so I'm just going to, record this video just to kind of get it out there. I'm done. I'm done with the waiting. Now, you could say, again, so I like that theory. I love the theory that it's not something you can play, but it's something you literally can experience. We experience in real time abandonment, which you can't get by playing. Technically, you can. Again, that's why it's kind of all stupid. You can feel abandoned in a game. They just chose to make it more like a personal thing. They took direct shots at us. Again, the thing I would say against that would be, well, it could very well just be a technical error. That may be true. I would counter with, and people made this point very clearly and very right, in my opinion. Remember, the app was delayed. I believe July 7th was the date. It was delayed the day of last time. So, we got to the date that the app was going to go live, and they delayed it. And then we get to the second go-around of that app, and then they set a time, and they still, and I guess it wasn't delayed, but it was a technical difficulty, right? So what are the odds of that happening? Not very high, in my opinion. Again, you could counter with, well, what do they do? It's something that I've asked. I asked people online. I even told my wife where it's well, and even she said, she's like, well, I don't know if it would be considered abandoned because they're giving us updates. They're clearly keeping us in a loop, not the greatest loop, but they're keeping us in a loop. I would agree with that. Hassan has gone completely dark. Blue Box has gone completely dark, besides the update every so often that they're still working on it. I would agree, though. My question would be, how do you resolve this? How do you finish this, right? Because if I'm right, if people are right, okay? Because I'm going to throw my hat in. I will leave that theory. Now, I didn't come up with a theory, but I'll say, I'm going to be a supporter of it. If that theory is right, how do you get beyond the point that we're at right now? Because, you trolled us. You trolled us. You set a date. You set a time, and you weren't there. You literally ghosted us, okay? So, what do you do now? Well, you have to say something. You know what I mean? You have to say something at some point. You could call it a cop-out thing where it's well, Alex, you're saying that they still have to say something. You're saying I get it, but you do have to say something. You know what I mean? They have to say, and I've been saying this on Twitter, maybe they come out and say, we just had enormous, like, these technical, like, it's our studio's flooded and the computers are all off and we're running around in circles and we're banging against walls. We don't even know where we are. Like, we need to delay this thing because it's just, what's happened is unexcusable, but it's also something we just can't get through, right? But what we need to do is we need to delay it by a couple weeks. Now, what would that lead to, right? It would basically lead to what Hassan was saying a few days ago, right, which we covered on this channel, that the full reveal would be later in August. Again, what's later in August? Gamescom. Who runs Gamescom? Jeff Keighley. You can make the connections to Hideo Kojima. I have done that. Again, you could say that's a reach if you're speculating, right, if it's a conspiracy, but I don't care. I truly don't care at this point. I'm going to make that connection. So I could see that. I mean, at the end of the day, you have to say something about the events that happened today. You know what I mean? You have to say, like, we can't fix it, or they will. Or, I mean, what could very easily happen is on Twitter, they posted that, like, 4-second clip of the guy, presumably Jason, right, walking, very much looking exactly like Silent Hill, but let's just forget that. They could cop out and say, all right, look, we can't give you what we wanted to give you through this, this update to our app, but we're going to give you that 4-second clip on the app, and we're going to delay anything else for a few weeks. And then in a few weeks, we would get to Gamescom, and everything would happen. Again, theory, speculation for sure, but that's what I could see happening. So, again, I like the idea. I like it kind of transcending video games and into life, and yes, reaching. Yes, conspiracies. But one more thing, isn't that what Hideo Kojima is kind of all about? Isn't one of the main things he's been talking about recently was that he, like, inadvertently, by accident, kind of predicted Death Stranding in real life, right? The kind of the distance and bringing people back together and what's happened over the last year and a half, right? And he said that, and he said, like, the next thing he wants to do, he wants to do it again, but he wants to kind of, like, take it to the next level. Well, wouldn't this be kind of the next level, messing with us as individuals and kind of framing it as in a game? Now, again, eventually there is going to be a game, and maybe it's not Kojima, maybe it's not. And last thing I guess I'll say, like, for good, and at least in this video, if this is just an indie game, they've continued to just make it worse for themselves, because this is embarrassing. And I said it in the live stream, I'm not afraid to say it. I'm not somebody who's going to, like, kiss the feet of these gaming publishers and developers. I don't think that's necessary. They are not they're not better than us. They're not above us. I'm not saying we're better than them. We do buy their products, though. We literally keep them in business. But I would say, for those that are coming up with 1,000 excuses for them, because you know what? If this wasn't about creating abandoned, like, mentality in individuals like us, right? If that wasn't the plan and it really was a technical difficulty, shame on them. Pathetic clowns. Like, come up with your insults. All of them are true. I truly do. I have no regret saying that, because it's just like, at this point, you can't do this. You can't. I get mistakes happen. I get issues happen. I get technical difficulties happen, but you can't build it up as high as you have, delay it multiple times, set a date and time, and then literally ghost it. You can't do that if you're an indie team. If you're not an indie team and this is like Hideo Kojima, it's just a prank. We'll all laugh about this at some point in our lives. You know what I mean? So hopefully you guys like this video. Let me know, your thoughts in the comments below. Also, this could be the first time you're seeing my face, because I normally don't show my face in the abandoned videos. So, hello. Make sure you guys are subscribed. Make sure you guys have the bell icon turned on so all these videos go up. If you guys want to follow me on Twitter, a lot of people have recently followed me. I really appreciate it. Links in the description. My second channel, we have a Patreon and YouTube memberships. If you guys want to check us out there, would very much appreciate that as well. I will be covering this more. If something happens tomorrow, I can definitely make, like, a news video out of it. Let me know if there's anything specific you guys want to see, but I'll keep, the coverage of this going over the next however much time, right? How much time they do stuff. So thank you for watching, guys, and I'll see you all on the next video.